I'm a marketer. I've always been in marketing. I was the CMO of the business, doing very well. Thank you very much. Really loved it. Marketing's in my veins, but always wanted a bit more. Not a bit more. I always wanted a lot more.
Today, we sat down with Sharon Roessen and we got straight into talking about the tough decisions leaders have to make but rarely talk about.
We asked her about the gamble that ended up defining her personal growth.
The initiative she had to kill even though everyone loved it.
And the terrifying budget shift that paid off far more than expected.
Well, the product is everything. At the end of the day, you can have the best marketing in the world, but it's not going to perform. I mean, to sell that into the board, asking for a lot of money, if it doesn't pay off, yeah, okay, it's my arse on the line. I'm the one that went in and went, no, honestly, it's going to be transformative.
We hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we did filming it. Thanks for coming in, Sharon. Really, really pleased that you could come in and be on our podcast. Really exciting.
So, what's the single decision in your career that's felt like a gamble?
I think that the biggest one I've ever made was moving to Singapore. So I've done it twice, but the first time was easy. The second time was much harder. So that was 2014. So going back, I'm a marketer. I've always been in marketing. I was the CMO of the business, doing very well. Thank you very much. Really loved it. Marketing's in my veins. But always wanted a bit more, not a bit more, I always wanted a lot more, but always wanted to have P&L responsibility. I mean, marketing is brilliant and I love it. But if you're marketing a shit product, you can have the best marketing in the world, but it's not going to perform. And I just always wanted to have more control over the product. So I'd been asking to run a business for Terrapinn for quite some time and been overlooked. And then the opportunity arose in September 2014 on the day my cat got run over after we just bought a house, a stupid house that needed a lot of work and a lot of mortgage. And I've got 3 children and they were 12, 9 and 5 at the time. So a massive gamble. I mean, my husband said, "Are you fucking stupid?" And my dad, when I phoned my father and spoke to him, he said, "I've just come back from golf. I'm just having a sandwich." But my gut feel said, why not? And I thought the same. I thought, yeah, we are stupid, but why not? And it was the best thing that ever happened. I got P&L responsibility. I did develop the product a lot. I learned loads. And particularly got into sales as well. So really got into sales, got in front of clients. Marketing people tend to be sat behind the desks a lot, doing creatives and data and all that kind of stuff and not really talking enough to customers. So really got me out doing that and just living in a different country, and bringing up a family in a different country. The opportunities that has then not just helped me grow, but I believe has really helped them as well.
So if thinking about that experience, what's the biggest thing that happened or you learned in Singapore that has influenced your marketing career since?
Well, the product is everything at the end of the day. I mean, I just think, if you're going to put effort into anything, you can be spending as much on the best channels, the best creative, have the best agency working with you and everything else. But if the product if you're not delighting your customers, and that's actually where you've got to start. So being able to have full control over that was fantastic. I mean, I learned a lot about marketing into Asia as well. And, and the whole piece around Asia is very different, marketing into Asia. I learned lots around that. But ultimately coming back down to the product and customer first, and then layer on fantastic marketing.
So would you recommend that anybody within your business, careful what I'm saying here, otherwise you're going to get loads of requests, should try and do the same?
Yeah. I would suggest, if you're in marketing, I would suggest go and do a stint in sales because you're talking to the customer and you just learn so much and you can just apply that to what you're doing. And it's scary and it's, sales, it's very different to marketing and it's not easy, but actually it's incredibly enjoyable. And I also found that going out and meeting customers, we're mainly selling to, in our industry, mainly selling to CMOs. Well, that was my background. So I could talk their language. I asked the right questions and you don't come across as being salesy at all. So I would recommend, 2 things to anyone is I would recommend if you can go and do a stint in sales, absolutely do it. I wish I'd started in sales. And if you ever get the chance to go and live overseas, absolutely grab it with both hands. Even if you've got 3 kids and a husband that doesn't want to go and do it. And the best experience ever.
That is amazing. So were the kids excited? Did you have to persuade any of them?
I promised my eldest we were going for 1 year.
Yeah. And how long were you there? Yeah.
9.
9 years.
Yeah, well, she left a little bit early to go to university, but
Yeah.
no, but they loved it, and my son came back more Singaporean than he was English. He went when he was 5. He came back when he was 13, 14. So and learned Mandarin. Both 2 of them learned Mandarin. So fantastic experience, brilliant, and now the best thing for them is the world is a small place for them. They're not scared about those opportunities. Not scared about going overseas and looking at. They want to go and do that. So I met so many people, so many different walks of life. So yeah, absolutely brilliant.
That is really inspiring.
And has it helped you in your role now as COO, having had that experience?
Yeah. Because, from 2 levels. One, running the business. I think that, because if you just isolated to one function, when you've got a more broader role, like being COO, I oversee the whole function of all the different functions now. So I've been out, met the customers, been with sales, run the sales team, run the content team, run the marketing team, understand the finances of the business. So you get a much broader version of visual on that. But then also just living and working overseas, you can understand the challenges of because we're in events, but venues in different cities, and having to deal firsthand with countries where infrastructure is not what it is in Singapore or in the UK, although some UK infrastructure is probably quite similar to Indonesian infrastructure, but you can understand the challenges, and that is very then transferable to Africa or Latin America or wherever else you're going, where there are challenges around that as well.
I'm just in awe. I just think she's great. I don't even know what to say other than that. I'm trying to move house across the town I live, and I'm having trouble with my 8-year-old. So I need some more tips from you on how to how to get kids comfortable with a little bit of change. He's like,
it'll be for 1 year, darling. We'll
come on, yeah. So sorry. Shall I ask another question?
Yes,
maybe we'll move on talking about my kids. Okay. So have you ever killed an initiative that people internally loved? And if you have, what was the backlash, and did it have any massive impact on the business?
Because of our industry, we run 90 B2B events. We used to run about 1,500. So we killed a lot of events. And the thing about events is I call them perishable, because every year they happen and then you've got to start again. But the world changes all the time. So events can be very topical, often very topical, and something can happen. And even if you don't kill it, something else might. So like in 2009, 10, when the global financial markets melted down, we had 22 hedge funds events globally. They died overnight. So yeah, they were kind of taken away, but we did try and hold on to them for a bit, but we had to kill them. But then also, there's ones where we have to kill them as well. And people get very attached to the event that they work on, because, an event is the industry. I always say that we're one of the few industries where you get to meet every one of your customers in 2 days. Because we do. Every year we'll meet them all. And people build, and we get lots of repeat business. And so people build big relationships with customers, attendees, sponsors, exhibitors, partners. And then all of a sudden you've got the bosses coming in and saying it's not making enough money, the margin's not big enough, and actually you're really great, or your team's really great. We think you'd be better served. That industry's going nowhere. The event we've been trying, it's time to call time. So we actually do that regularly. So it's a big part of what we do in the industry. It can be hard, but it is for the better of the business. If you've got great people working on it, their time and can be spent so much better on something else where they can actually make a real difference and grow something. So yeah, tough calls, and and I've had my event, I've had to cancel some of my own ones that I've launched, and it is really hard, and you can keep going, let's just go one more time, and you've got to say, no, it's enough. We there's something else we can do that's going to be better.
Yeah. Have you got any tips for someone who needs to help their team accept that sort of change?
Well, I think it is, you're going to have to make the call for them, I think, because it's, and then just, and it is hard. And I know that we tried to kill an event last year, and then the team pleaded to the board that, no, another go, one more time, please, one more time. And then they let, as a board, we said, all right, one more time, and we've done. And guess what? It was no better than it was before. And actually now they're saying, okay, this time we're going to do it. So I think you just got to be brave. And if you believe it's the right decision, it probably is. And, and then, can move on. Everyone will move on relatively quickly. Yeah. And that's the great thing about events as well, because if you've got another project to get onto, you can really get into it really quickly. And then all of a sudden, because we're out there talking to people all the time, build new relationships and a whole new knowledge base and network as well from doing that.
But you are very good at embracing change. Like, having worked with you and also spoken to some of your team, I can't remember exactly what Nicola said, but she said...
Change is the only constant. That's what I say. But I think she says something like, Sharon thrives on change. Oh, my God, yeah. She changes everything all the time, yeah.
So how do you do that in a business sense? Because naturally, people are scared of change. So how do you create a culture where change is the only constant?
I think first of all, I think you've got to embrace it yourself. And you've got to lead by example and be brave and go after it. Someone recently, I wrote about it on LinkedIn this week, called me strategically impatient, which I took as a compliment. She meant it as a compliment, and I took it one as such. And so I think that, by embracing that and doing that, I have been told by someone else that actually I need to slow down sometimes, that actually not everyone can run as fast as you. And if you're, particularly when you're pushing through change, sometimes you might be the strategically impatient person, but you've got to slow down and then work at other people's pace to bring them on the journey. And then hopefully they will get momentum and they will start coming along too. Because I think it can be daunting for others as well. And we do change everything all the time. And this year for us has been a massive year of change with AI. And we have been charging full steam ahead. We're changing AI. We're changing process, but really revenue streams and how we are running the business with AI. And I think it's been pretty daunting for a lot of people, but it'd be pretty boring if we didn't. And I think it's just trying to get people to come on that journey with you. But I think word to myself is slow down sometimes and take it a bit calmer.
But I would say you are someone that really has embraced AI. Sorry, I'm going completely off script here.
Yeah, she is.
But putting you under pressure. But you really have embraced AI, and you're one of the main people, I would say, that I've met at C-level that has gone into tech companies and said, if you haven't got an AI, I'm quoting you directly, if you haven't got an AI roadmap, I'm not interested. How have you approached upskilling and learning about that and being able to make decisions like that with certainty?
A lot of bullshit. I'm talking a good game, and honestly, because no one knows, no one understands it, and I think there's just getting over yourself a little bit and just like going, okay, nobody really understands what a lot of this stuff is. So just asking a lot of questions, asking the right questions on a lot of them all the time, reading lots and just experimenting. We've been doing lots of experimentation. I mean, we hired an AI director early on in May, and that's been great because he can run as fast as I can, maybe faster. And so we've been trialing lots of stuff, and some of it's been failing, some of it's been expensive, some of it's just not moved the needle. And and we're all about, well, really. So with AI, you can try and reduce your cost base, you can try and increase revenue, or you could innovate and find new products and revenue streams. We've really gone full at the middle one on the revenue, but next year we're going into the third one. But we've not looked so much at the cost thing, and I think that's helped us internally, because we're not actually saying we're trying to put this in to do you all out of jobs. We're trying to do this to really move the needle on the revenue front. And maybe coming out of this, we might come up with a few new ideas of products that we could also be that come out of the whole process as well. So, I mean, it's just about, getting in and start just talking a good game, I think, because no one knows.
So talking a good game, what is a budget shift or resource allocation? I think it's probably kind of linked to what we were talking about, that's terrified you at the time, as you were potentially bullshitting, as you've just said, that actually is paid off the most in the long run.
Well, if we stay with the AI theme, I mean, it has been terrifying, because one big piece of technology we put in was really expensive. Like I think list price is about £3,500 a user a year, and we've got 170 sales staff, so you can do the maths. We got it a lot cheaper than that, but it's a big piece of technology. So everyone's going, ChatGPT is 30 quid a month or whatever. It's cheap, you don't have to spend on this. But when we looked at the sales stack and the sales use cases for AI, there is a piece of technology out there, and we went, actually, that just ticks so many boxes. But it was a big punt. I mean, to sell that into the board, asking for a lot of money. I'm not sure I was terrified, but cautious. And if it doesn't pay off, it's my arse on the line. I'm the one that went in and went, no, honestly, it's going to be transformative. And it's still early days, but already we are seeing wins from that, just from the transparency it can give us, from the admin it's taking away from our salespeople. And hopefully, fingers crossed, going into the new year, we'll start to then see the revenue needle move up from doing it. But but lots of other, in marketing, I mean, other things, other decisions, budgeting decisions, going back years ago, stopping doing direct mail. We all did direct mail so much. That's where 85% of the budget was to the mailing house and the post office and the printers and the designers, and then stopping that and going fully digital. I remember doing that in early 2015. So it's only 10 years ago, isn't it? But that was a big decision, and that was terrifying, because you've got an event with an end date, and then you suddenly go to everyone, we're not going to do a mailing piece. And everyone's going, can't we just do a little one? And I'm like going, no, because we've got to prove this works. And it did. And then we stopped everywhere. But that was terrifying.
So thinking about some of your answers, to me, one thing that seems really clear is you need to lead with confidence. So if you're going to make a change, like cut direct mail on a perishable item like an event, you need to, even if you think you might be wrong, you need to stand up there with confidence and say, we're not doing it, it's going to be okay.
And own it, and then own it. And then if it does go wrong, go, all right, okay, hands up, quick, mailing. Do a mail, quick. But I mean, you've got to own it. You've got to be confident. Because I think if you flick flack, then you're almost causing it to fail, because you don't believe it. So you've got to go with it. So, but I mean, you don't go into those decisions blindly, right? We'd been testing, and we suspected strongly that it was going to, it wouldn't be a problem, and then it was.
So, what's a decision you think most marketing leaders are too scared to make, but absolutely should?
Spend less. Okay. I honestly think spend less. We've cut our marketing budgets by a third this year, and response has stayed the same. I don't know. I just think that if you give marketing people more money, they will spend it. If you give them less, they'll sweat it. So, and you become more creative. within your own industry, like if you got less budget, okay, you might need more, but at least you can always put more back in again, but you can't unspend it. So I just think spend less, you can always layer more back on again. It's like putting salt in your food, isn't it? I always say, don't put much in and then you can always add more. But it's the same with the marketing budget. And I just think you'll get so much more out of it and get so much more creative if you've got less money to spend.
Yeah. I think sometimes senior marketing people struggle with that because of ego, because they don't want to go, my budget's a bit less year on year.
Well,
it
it's
might
always
look
an
like
excuse.
a failing.
Can't do that because my budget's been cut. We hear that the whole time, and we're going, well, actually, but we'll get you more leads. So let's be more creative when you come to the show, and what is it you want out of it, and let's work on that. But yeah, it is. I think you're right. It's a lot about ego, and people always say, in our industry, a lot of people will say, because I can't get that number because you've cut my budget, which is also I think it's a weak excuse. And I think you can often say to people, what I often say to people is if we cut the budget and then they come and say, I need more, I say, okay, you give me a business case of what you're going to spend it on exactly. And if it doesn't include new data, I'm not interested. So let's forget it. So you've got to prove that you've already got ROI and response from what you're doing, and double down more on what you're doing that's working. But yeah. And also, if I can have two answers. The other thing I would probably not do as much is don't get too distracted with all the shiny new tools, going back to the AI stuff as well. That, it's like, yeah, there's some great, interesting stuff out there, but actually it's still the traditional stuff that's working, not direct mail, but it's still the more traditional channels that's working. And to me, it's still always about data. So if you're going to spend more money, spend it on data, better data, getting insights, targeting it better. Is always about the target, whether it's email or digital advertising or whatever. It's always about the target market.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
If you could rewind to one crossroads moment in your leadership and choose to do something differently, what would you change and why?
I thought about this question a lot. So my problem is I've been with Terrapinn for 31 years and 2 months, almost to the day, actually. So the biggest decision I've probably ever made is not to leave and to stay. So you won't meet many people that have been with the same company for 31 years and don't have a Rolex. So would I change that? No. So I've thought about this quite a lot. I think when I thought about this answer, I thought actually my problem's not been so much as a crossroads where I've had decisions. My problem is actually really been having so many roads that I could go round, not just in my own career, but as a business where we could look at. And what I've taken on board this year is a Daniel Pink philosophy, which is, if you write down 10 things you could do, so 10 pathways you could take, and then cross out 8 of them and just do 2. So I think the one thing, not sure I'm really answering your question, but I think what I would do is actually probably just stop trying to go down so many paths all the time. As I said, I'm strategically impatient, but I want to get so many things done. And I think that my problem has often been picking off too many things. And I've been describing it to my team as that's like doing your GCSEs, where you've got 10 options that you're doing and you'll get a B or a C in every one of them. And then you do your A-levels and you do 2 or 3 and you need to get an A-star in them. And that's a Daniel Pink philosophy. So that's what I'm trying to do as well. So I think my answer would be actually it's not about choosing different, but just maybe choosing less, to do less at one time.
I think it's really interesting that you've been with Terrapinn for 31 years and 2 months.
And 2 months.
How do you stay in an organisation and get lots of new opportunities? What would your advice be to people?
Put yourself out there. Say yes lots. Whenever you're asked to do anything different, make yourself uncomfortable frequently. Just try new things. Like talking about doing sales. Yeah, I mean, it's petrifying. First time you go out face to face and meet a client, it's terrifying. Go out and do it. Go out and do whatever it is. Or if you've not been in marketing, go and try it. Just trying lots of new stuff all the time. So I think that comes down to that whole thing about change as well. It's like, Terrapinn changes stuff. We change stuff all the time. And I think that's a great thing about events, because every year they die. Well, they don't die, they happen. And then you can reinvent them. So you've got this opportunity every year to reinvent, try again, test, do something new, do something different. So it's that creative part of being able to do that has kept me very interested in it as well. So, and so just being open to that change. I think if you're in an organisation that embraces change, then embrace it and crack on with it. And I think saying yes to lots of stuff, but maybe just two things, going back to the last point. But so I think, you embrace change, put yourself out there, say yes lots. But and it's, you want to work in a nice environment. So, and Terrapinn is, and that they've always treated me very well, and it's been a challenge. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's been times when I've thought, wow, I could go and do something else, or what else could I be doing? But actually, and work overseas. That's the other thing. Yeah, go and work overseas. Why not? And things like the events industry, they're bloody great getting the events industry, and you travel all the time. So, go and experience something new. Make yourself uncomfortable frequently.
That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just say you're uncomfortable frequently.
Yeah.
Like, especially driving house performance.
I would say I hate being uncomfortable, but it's what you do, right, to grow.
Yeah, I think you have to, and I think you only know you're growing, and that's why. This one will get them going. That's why I hate that term, imposter syndrome, because actually, imposter syndrome is just making yourself uncomfortable. You're feeling uncomfortable, and everyone hates to feel uncomfortable. It is scary, but then when you overcome that and you do it, you're really proud of yourself, and and you learn so much from that experience. So that's why I really hate that term, imposter syndrome. Which, when I say that, I get people's backs up, but it's about that is all about being uncomfortable, I think, and that's what you actually want to be doing. That.
So to round up, what I think we've learned today is you should embrace change. You should be uncomfortable in the workplace. You should naturally seek out opportunities, and you should be open to utilising data in as many ways as possible, but also be open to leaving your ego at the door and making decisions that are going to drive the best business outcomes for you and the business that you're working for.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us, Sharon. It's been a pleasure.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks.
Amazing.
Thanks.